Hi, good morning, students. I hope all of you are keeping fine and you are studying what all materials and the explanations are given to you through the teachers. And yesterday in the last class we have explained the civics second lesson. That means the Indian executive. We have already understood about the word meaning of executive, executing the laws made by the legislative body, and it is one of the main organ of the government. And what are the powers of this executive body? And the president is the official head of the executive body. We have already studied that, and we have studied also the president's legislative power, judicial power and executive powers which are. And along with this president have some emergency powers and some discretionary powers. What is meant by these powers? We know, we understood very clearly in the previous classes also about the president's powers. In our country, the president's powers are coming little bit influenced by the British political situations. Our country is very much influenced by the British political system, and all this we know that. We were once colonized by the British people. So some influence is there. In our presidential power, we know he is only the official head. There is a real head. Who is the real head of our country? We have already seen that this powerful man of our country today, who is the first citizen, not the first citizen is president. But the real offices are doing by the Prime Minister with his cabinet ministers or with his council of ministers. So the president really, he is like a puppet. But in very few cases, he has the authority to do. And most of the times, he is doing what the council of ministers are asking to do. Even though he has the power, in Constitution, there is a very little power given to the president to act by himself. He has to act according to the orders of the Council of Ministers. Then, in which cases the president will act like that? We have seen some of the powers of this president. And in emergency cases, what can be the emergency cases? The emergency cases, for example, if there will come an attack from outside of our country. If America is going to attack our country, in that place, the president has the power to take some decisions. there is no enough time to summon the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha and take decisions. So in that cases, sometimes President can take the immediate decisions. So the emergency power has the President in that cases, and also if the Prime Minister will pass away, if the Prime Minister will pass away, who will be? There is no Prime Minister. So who will act? In that cases, the President will act. And also, if there is no the majority party to lead our country, for example, when there is an election, nobody has the needed votes in the parliament. What will do? No party has the majority. Then in that cases, the President will act. President can take decision. Who has to rule our country and how it should be formed, the government, to guide our country. And also, in some financial crisis will happen in our country, in that cases also the President has some power. Otherwise, the President as a titular, he has no power. The powers are vested with the Prime Minister with his Council of Ministers. So the President will act normally. According to the Constitution, he has to act according to the orders of the Prime Minister with his Council of Ministers. Clear? Then there is some discretionary powers of the governor. And the President also, when there is a breakdown of law and order in our country, the President can intervene. And he has taken his own power to take some decisions to keep the law and order in our country. Am I clear? When you have any doubts about this, you can ask me. And in order to understand very clearly this part about the powers of President and the Governor, I have already sent to your Google Classroom, and this video also I will send in your WhatsApp. The link I will send in the WhatsApp, so you can watch the video, the explanation of the class or textbook by me, and also the powers of the President and the Governor through the video clips in your Google class. So, what are the emergency powers when there is an attack from outside the country or within the country? If there are any disturbances or financial crisis or breakdowning of law and order in our country, in these cases the President can use his emergency powers. Then when we come to the Governor, what is there? The Governor is a representative of the like President in the center, Governor in the state. He has also some discretionary powers, but it is clearly written in the Constitution. The President's discretionary powers are not written very clearly in the Constitution. So there is a little bit confusion. Now we can see what are the discretionary powers of Governor. The Governor can, so before coming to the governor, we have already seen that 4 moments when the president can use his own power in our country. We have seen that when there is an attack from outside country or within the country, or any disturbance within the country, or the financial crisis will happen in our country, and also when there is a breakdowning of law and order in our country, then the president can take over the administration of the situation. This situation is called the presidential rule because he is the ruling man at that time. And it is even in the state level when there is no where there is very confusionary situation in the state because of the can be different problem, can be disturbances within the state among the political leaders or the chief minister, or in these cases the president or the governor can ask the president to take the responsibility of the state. That time president will rule the state. So it is in that situation it is called the presidential rule. Nobody is there, only president. Then he has no need of attending or listening the Council of Ministers opinion. Clear? Then when we come to the governor, there is the when there is a when the Council of Ministers loses the confidence of the Legislative Assembly, when the Council of Ministers loses the confidence of the Legislative Assembly and no other party can form a ministry, then the presidential rule will be there. The governor can ask the president to inform the president about the situation, and he can ask the president to come to take the responsibility directly under the president. Okay? Then the governor feels if there is a complete breakdown of law and order in the state, in that moment also the governor can ask the president. And during this presidential rule, the chief minister and the council of ministers has no power. They were dismissed from their office. And the governor, the president can ask the governor to administer the state on president's instructions. He has to follow the instructions given by the president. Clear? Then, who is the vice president? Can you say who was the first vice president of India? Anybody? The first vice president of India was Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. And what will do the vice president? In the absence of the president, he will act as the president. So, he is called vice president. Like in our school, when the principal is not there, the vice principal will act as the principal. Okay, like that in our countries, the president, when the president's office is absent, then the vice president will take the office and act as a president. I hope it is clear. And he is the chairman of the Rajya Sabha that we have already studied. And you know that, even though now you are not remembering, we have already studied about these all things. Just I am going through, and you can read the text. It is very clearly explained in your textbook. So you can read the text and understand. Then what are the qualifications? And we have studied when the impeachment of the president and vice president, when they are not obeying the rules, the constitution, they can be impeached from their office. The impeachment, removing them from their office, it is called the impeachment. Then the vice president is also the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. If the president dies or resigns in his office, the vice president will act as a president. Clear? Then, what is the term and a qualification of the office of the vice president? The term of the vice president is for 5 years. Who will elect the vice president of India? The members of both the house, the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they will elect the vice president of India. Our Indian parliament is made by Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, 2 chambers, so bicameral, and when they have to elect the president and vice president, both the sabhas were gathered together and they will elect the vice president of India. And to become a vice president of India, what are the qualifications? Like the president also, what 35 years has to be completed. 35 years of age has to be completed. Then he has to be qualified as a member of Rajya Sabha. We have seen that he has the vice president is elected for a term of 5 years, and he can resign since the vice president, he can resign from his office by addressing a letter to the president of India. So above him there is a president, so he can introduce a resignation letter directly to the president of India. Clear? Then come to the real head of the executive body. Who is the real head of the executive body? We know that the real head of the government is the Prime Minister with his Council of Ministers, not the President. But President have some powers, but very few powers are written in the Constitution. And more than that, it is written in the Constitution about the governor of the state. And governors, we have already seen, one governor can be the governor of more than one state. And the party that wins the majority seats in Lok Sabha is invited by the president to form a union government. When there is the majority, then the president will intervene. Otherwise, the majority party who got the seat, the majority, the party which get the majority seats in Lok Sabha is invited to form the government. And the party that wins the majority of seats in the state legislative assembly is invited by the governor In the center by the president, in the state by the governor to form the state government. The majority party which gets the majority vote, that party has to come to form the government, even in the center and in the state. Okay. The majority seats in Lok Sabha will govern the center, and the majority seats in the state legislative assembly is invited to form the government in a state level. If no party will get the clear majority, then two or more parties may come together and form the government. In that case, the president will intervene and help to form the government. Then the functions of the executive body we will study in the next class. Okay, clear up to here? The majority party of the Lok Sabha chooses the Prime Minister also. We have seen that the party which win the majority of seats in the Lok Sabha are invited by the president to form the government. And from this majority party, for example, in our case, in the last election in Lok Sabha, BJP got the majority. So, the BJP leader, from among the BJP, they choose one leader to govern our country as a Prime Minister. Who is that? Narendra Modi. Like that, in our condition, the process is doing like that. Clear? And you have to study, watch the videos I am sending through your Google Classroom, and the link I will send also through your Google Classroom, and sometimes in WhatsApp also. You have to go through this, and after understanding that, you have to read the textbook. Then you have to understand very clearly the text part. After that, you have to try to find out the question answers up to there. So, we are in the 15th page number, and we will take the lessons in the next class about the functions of the legislative body, executive body. Clear? And you know that in the next month there is second term exam. You have with you the diary, in that explained very clearly. So, try to do your homework updated, and also study well. When one lesson is over, I am taking the test paper, but very few are attending the test paper. If you are not studying, what is the use of taking the classes? That along with this, I am asking you, class B students, that means 8th B students will have the parents, our Nandakishore sir will explain and ask your parents about the examination, how to do. And you have to collaborate. You have to give your suggestions also. And according to that, we will have the examination in the next month. So, your parents, since Nandakishore sir knows very well Hindi, he can communicate with your parents and he will talk to them. Okay. For me also he will talk. So I will not call your parents. I hope your parents is collaborating and to pay the fees also. You have to pay the fees to the office. Okay, these are the things we have to clearly understand and study. And I am sure that with the help of the videos, you can understand very clearly all this. And tomorrow, in the next class, we have 2 classes. In the next class, we will explain little bit about the functions of the executive body. Okay, thank you everybody for your patient listening. Thanks. Have a nice day.